Psychic warning. Something is blocking your money, and it's not bad luck. I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me. If you've been working hard, doing everything right, saying yes to every opportunity, budgeting, saving, grinding, and the money still doesn't come, it's not bad luck. It's not the economy. It's not because you're not smart enough or not trying hard enough. Something is blocking you, and I can feel it from here. My name is Celine. I'm 50 years old. I've been reading energy for over 20 years. I've sat with thousands of people, lawyers, single mothers, business owners, retired teachers, women who run entire companies, and women who can barely pay rent. And I'm going to tell you something that none of them expected to hear when they came to me. Money is energy. That's not a metaphor. That's not something I say to sound spiritual. Money moves like energy because it is energy. It flows towards certain people and it avoids others. And the reason it avoids you has nothing to do with your resume, your skills, or your work ethic. It has everything to do with what's sitting inside you that you haven't dealt with. Let me explain. A woman came to me about 3 years ago. Her name was Diane. She was 54, divorced, working 2 jobs. She was a bookkeeper during the day and cleaned offices at night. She was exhausted. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep. The kind of tired that lives in your bones. The kind that makes you feel 70 when you're 54. She didn't come to me for a money reading. She came because she wanted to know if her ex-husband still thought about her. That's what most people come for. Love. Always love. But the second she sat down across from me, I felt something else. It wasn't about her ex-husband at all. There was a heaviness around her chest and her stomach. Not grief, not heartbreak. Something older, something that had been sitting there for decades, like a stone she'd swallowed as a child and it never came back up. I said, "Diane, I know you came here about your ex, but I need to ask you something first. Who told you that you didn't deserve money?" She stared at me, didn't say a word for about 10 seconds. Her mouth opened slightly and then closed. And then she started crying. Not soft crying, the kind of crying that comes from a place so deep you didn't even know it was there. The kind that doesn't make sound at first because the pain is too far down to reach your throat right away. When she calmed down, she told me, her father used to say it. Not in a cruel way, not yelling. Worse. He said it calmly, like a fact, like he was telling her the weather, like he was reading from a textbook about how the world works. People like us don't get rich, Diane. That's for other people. We work. We survive. That's what we do. She heard that from the time she was 7 years old until she left home at 18. 11 years of a man she loved and trusted telling her that money wasn't for her, that wanting more was greedy, that her place in the world was small and she should accept it and be grateful for what she had. And she did accept it. Not because she believed it. Not because she thought about it and decided her father was right. because it got into her energy. It became the frequency she operated on. Like a radio stuck on one station. She couldn't hear anything else. She didn't even know there were other stations. She worked hard her entire life. Harder than most people I've ever met. 2 jobs, raised 2 kids alone. Never missed a bill payment. Never asked anyone for help. But the money never grew. It came in and it went right back out. Every single time, like clockwork. Every time she got close to saving something real, something would happen. The car would break down. A medical bill would show up. The roof started leaking. Her son needed something for school. Always something. She thought it was bad luck. 20 years of bad luck. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was a belief she'd been carrying since she was 7 years old. Running her life like an invisible program she didn't even know was installed. A program that said, "You are not allowed to have more than enough. You are only allowed to survive." Here's what I've learned after 20 years of reading people's energy. Money blocks are almost never about money. They're about what someone told you about money before you were old enough to question it. Think about it. Think about the first time you heard an adult in your life talk about money. Not teach you about money. Talk about it. The tone they used. The tension in their voice. The arguments behind closed doors that they thought you couldn't hear, but you heard every word. The way your mother's face changed when a bill arrived in the mail. The way your father said, "We can't afford that," like he was swallowing something bitter and heavy. The silence at the dinner table after one of those conversations. You absorbed all of that, every word, every silence, every slammed door and every whispered fight about the electric bill, and every time your mother said, "Maybe next year," when you asked for something you wanted. It went straight into you like water into a sponge. And it's still there, soaking your decisions, shaping your choices, running in the background of every single financial moment of your life. And now you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, and you're wondering why you can never seem to get ahead. Why the money comes and goes like water through your hands, no matter what you do. Why other people seem to attract it effortlessly. People who don't work as hard as you. People who don't sacrifice like you. People who seem to care less. But the money goes to them and not to you. It's not them. It's not the universe punishing you. It's not karma. It's the program running in the background. The one your parents installed without meaning to. Without knowing they were doing it. Because their parents installed the same program in them. The one that says you don't deserve it. The one that says money is dirty or dangerous or corrupting. The one that says wanting more makes you selfish and ungrateful. The one that says people like you, people from your neighborhood, your family, your background, don't get to be comfortable, don't get to be wealthy, don't get to stop worrying. That program is your money block, and until you name it out loud, you cannot remove it. Let me tell you about another client, a man named Ray, 61 years old, owned a small plumbing business in Tucson for 30 years. Good business, honest work, steady clients who trusted him and called him back year after year. But he could never break past a certain income. Every year, the same number. Like there was a ceiling made of glass above his head, and he kept bumping into it and falling back down. His wife Marlene dragged him to see me. He didn't want to come. He didn't believe in any of this. Sat in my chair with his arms crossed and barely looked at me. Kept glancing at the door, like he was calculating how quickly he could leave. That's fine. I don't need you to believe. I just need you to sit still for 20 minutes. Within 2 minutes, I felt it. The same heaviness, the same block. But with Ray, it wasn't in his chest like Diane's. It was in his throat. Something he never said. Something he swallowed years ago and never let out. Something that was sitting right there at the base of his neck, pressing down. I told him, "There's something you've been wanting to do with your business. Something bigger. An expansion, maybe. Another truck. Another employee. A bigger service area. But every time you get close to doing it, you talk yourself out of it. You find a reason. You say the timing isn't right. You say, maybe next year." His arms uncrossed. First time he looked directly at me. I said, "Someone in your family failed at business. Someone you loved. Someone you watched go down. And you decided, not consciously, not with words, not sitting at a desk weighing the pros and cons. You decided, in your gut, that you would never let that happen to you. So you kept everything small, safe, controlled. And that decision is the reason you've been stuck at the same number for 15 years. He didn't say anything for a long time. Then he said one word. Dad. His father had owned a restaurant in the 80s, a diner, put everything into it. The savings, the house, borrowed money from family. Worked 18-hour days, 7 days a week. And it still failed. Lost everything. The house, the savings, the marriage. Ray's mother left within a year. Ray was 12 when it happened. He watched his family come apart like a building being demolished, one wall at a time. He never talked about it. Not to his wife, not to his friends, not to anyone. And he never consciously connected it to his own business. He thought he was just being smart, being careful, being responsible, not taking on debt, not overextending, not being reckless like his old man. But his energy knew. His energy had been protecting him from his father's fate for 30 years. By keeping him small, by keeping him from growing, by making sure he never risked enough to lose big, which also meant he could never gain big. His energy had built a cage around him and called it safety. That's how money blocks work. They don't look like fear. They don't look like trauma. They don't look like a wound. They look like responsibility. They look like being practical. They look like I'm just not a risk taker. Or I'm happy with what I have. Or I don't need much. They disguise themselves as personality traits, as values, as wisdom, so you never think to question them. Why would you question something that feels like who you are? But it's not who you are. It's what was done to you. I want to talk to you directly now, because I know why you clicked on this video, and I know what you've been feeling. You're not lazy. I know that without reading your energy. You've probably worked harder than most people around you your entire life. You've sacrificed things you wanted. You've said no to yourself so you could say yes to someone else. Your kids, your partner, your parents, your siblings. You've put everyone else first for so long, you forgot what it feels like to be first. And it still feels like the money doesn't respect you. Like it respects other people. People who don't work half as hard as you. People who don't care as much as you. People who inherited it, or lucked into it, or cheated for it. But it doesn't respect you. It comes to you just enough to keep you alive, and stressed, and running on a treadmill that never stops. That feeling is not reality. That feeling is the block talking. The block wants you to believe that this is just how life is. That some people have it and some people don't. That you're in the second group and you should stop hoping for anything different and just be grateful you have a roof over your head. I'm telling you right now, that is a lie. And it's a lie that was planted in you by someone who believed it about themselves. Someone who loved you. Someone who was trying to protect you. Someone who thought they were teaching you how the world works. But they weren't teaching you the truth. They were teaching you their wound. And you've been living inside that wound your entire life without knowing it. Your mother believed it because her mother believed it. Your father believed it because his father believed it. It goes back generations. It passes down like eye color, like the shape of your nose, like the sound of your laugh. Except nobody sees it. Nobody questions it. Nobody holds it up to the light and says, "Wait, is this mine? Or did someone hand this to me before I could say no?" It's not yours. It was never yours. It's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. So how do you break it? You're waiting for me to say something mystical, light a candle, burn sage, chant something, buy a crystal. No, I'm not going to tell you that, because that's not how this works. You break a money block by doing the one thing the block doesn't want you to do. You name it. Out loud, in your own voice, specifically. I want you to think right now. Close your eyes if you need to. Take a breath and ask yourself this one question. What is the first negative thing I ever learned about money? Don't overthink it. Don't analyze. Don't try to be smart about it. Just let it rise. The first thing that comes up. The very first thing. Maybe it's a sentence someone said to you. We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are crooks. Be grateful for what you have. Maybe it's not a sentence. Maybe it's a feeling. The tension in the house at the end of the month. The anxiety when the phone rang because it might be a bill collector. The look on your mother's face when she opened the mail. Maybe it's a person. Your uncle who called rich people greedy. Your grandmother who said wanting more was vanity and pride. Your father who said people like you don't get to have that life. Whatever it is, that's your block. That specific moment. That specific voice. That specific sentence or feeling or silence. That is the thing standing between you and the money that should have been flowing toward you for years. The money that has been trying to reach you but keeps hitting a wall you didn't know you built. Now I want you to say this out loud, not in your head, out loud, in the room, with your voice. Even if you feel silly, even if you feel nothing, say it anyway. That was their belief, not mine. I release it. I'm done carrying it. That's it. That's the first crack in the wall. It won't fix everything overnight. 20 or 30 or 40 years of programming doesn't dissolve in one sentence. But it starts the shift, because the block has power only as long as it stays invisible, as long as it stays unnamed. The second you see it clearly, the second you say it out loud in your own voice, it starts to lose its grip. The wall starts to crumble. I had a woman come back to me 6 months after her first reading. Her name was Patricia, 63 years old, retired school teacher from New Mexico, 31 years in a classroom, living on a pension that barely covered her bills. She had to choose between fixing her car and fixing her teeth. That's the kind of choice she was making every month. In her first reading, we found her block. It went deep. Her mother had been a housekeeper her entire life, cleaned wealthy people's homes 6 days a week. Big houses, beautiful houses, houses with rooms that nobody even used. And every Sunday, her mother would come home smelling like bleach and other people's perfume, sit at the kitchen table and say the same thing. Those people don't deserve what they have. God sees everything. God knows who the good people are. Patricia grew up believing that money and morality were opposites, that having money meant you'd done something wrong to get it, that being poor was evidence of being good and decent and honest, that wealth was a spiritual stain. She carried that for 63 years. It shaped every decision she ever made. She became a teacher, noble work, respected work, meaningful work, underpaid work. She never asked for a raise. She never negotiated. She never charged what she was worth, because some part of her believed that wanting money would make her like those people in the big houses. And those people, according to her mother, did not deserve what they had. When she came back 6 months later, something had changed. I could feel it before she even sat down. She looked different. Not younger, not richer, lighter, like she'd been carrying a suitcase in each hand for 30 years, and finally set them both down. She told me she'd started doing something she'd thought about for years, but never allowed herself to do. She started tutoring privately, on her own. She made a flyer. She posted it at the library and the community center, and she charged real money for it. Not teacher money, not volunteer money, real money. $50 an hour. Then, when every slot filled up, she raised it to $75. She said the hardest part wasn't finding clients. Parents were desperate for a retired teacher with her experience. The hardest part was saying the number, out loud, to another person. The first time she told a parent her rate was $75 an hour, her voice shook. Her hands were sweating. Her mother's voice was screaming in her head so loud she almost couldn't hear herself speak. Who do you think you are? You think you deserve that? You think you're one of them now? But she said it. She let the number come out of her mouth and hang in the air. And the parent didn't blink, didn't negotiate, didn't look at her like she was being greedy. The parent said, "That sounds great. When can we start?" Patricia made more money in her first 3 months of tutoring than she'd made in a full year of teaching. Not because she suddenly became smarter, not because she learned a new skill, not because the economy changed or the stars aligned. She'd always been that good, always. 31 years of being that good. She just finally let herself be paid for it. That's what happens when you remove the block. The money doesn't fall from the sky. It doesn't magically appear in your account. What happens is quieter than that and more powerful. The opportunities that were always there, the ones you walked past every day without seeing, the ones your energy was pushing away without your permission, they finally become visible. And you finally say yes to them instead of finding a reason to say no. I'll leave you with this, because I know you need to hear it. And I know nobody in your life has said it to you. The money you deserve is not far away. It's not hiding. It's not being kept from you by the universe or by karma or by some cosmic punishment for something you did in another life. Nobody up there is holding a clipboard deciding who gets to be comfortable and who gets to struggle. It's right there. It's been right there, circling you like water looking for a way in, trying to flow toward you. And something inside you, something old, something quiet, something that sounds like someone you loved, has been saying no. Not out loud, not on purpose, but in your energy. In the deep, quiet programming that's been running since you were a child, sitting at a kitchen table, absorbing every word the adults said when they didn't think you were listening. You were listening, and what you heard became the walls of your life. Find that program, name it, say it out loud in your own voice, and then tell it firmly and clearly that it doesn't live in you anymore, that you are grateful for the people who raised you, and you love them, and you understand they did their best. But their fear is not your inheritance. Their limits are not your ceiling. Their belief about money was wrong, and you are allowed, right now, today, at whatever age you are, to let it go. You've worked hard enough. You've sacrificed enough. You've earned more than enough. Now let it in. Stop pushing it away. Stop apologizing for wanting it. Stop feeling guilty for needing it. Let it in. I'm Celine. Your energy doesn't lie, and neither do I.